itong Google Meet. Anyway, so here, so the topic for this morning is about biochemistry of aging. I hope you were able to study the nucleotide metabolism. I was not able to meet you during our online session because I have to attend some other meetings. So here it's about biochemistry of aging. So the reference that I use is the 31st edition of Harper's. So you just read the chapters 57. Chapter talaga, no? Ang dami-dami kong pinapabasa. Chapter pa ang napili ko. Okay. Good luck na lang daw sabi nila. Oh, few pages lang yan. Ay, wait lang. Sandali lang ha. So, I'll be basing my learning objectives based on the objectives here written in chapter 57, actually. So the most of the illustrations and things here, the notes in this presentation, were taken directly from this book. So here are the learning objectives. By the way, I already posted this in your classroom materials, okay? So here we have three theories based on aging, no, on that book. We have the wear and tear theory, the oxidative theory, and the metabolic theory. So with the wear and tear theory, what are the learning objectives? So we're going to describe the essential features of the wear and tear theories of aging, list four or more common environmental constituents known to damage biologic macromolecules such as proteins and DNA, and then explain why nucleotide bases are especially vulnerable to damage. Then next is for the oxidative theory. So we're going to describe the oxidative theory of aging, list the primary sources of reactive oxygen species or the ROS in humans, and lastly to describe three mechanisms by which cells prevent or repair damage inflicted by the ROS. And then next, we have the metabolic theory. So this is the third theory. We're going to describe the basic tenets of metabolic theories of aging and explain the mechanism of telomere countdown clock. Okay? Yan. So let's begin with the first learning objective on the wear and tear theory. So we're going to describe the essential features of wear and tear theories of aging. Wait lang. Okay. Now we continue. So first, we're going to describe the essential features of the wear and tear theories. So in here, this theory, this wear and tear theory of aging, just was the result of injury and long-term exposure to environment factors degrades the organic molecules. So meaning, even when there is repair or and turnover mechanism, some damages accumulate over time because of inevitable leaks. So ano ibig sabihin nun? So if you can see in this table here, it shows you the time required for all of the average cells of this type to be replaced. So for example, the epidermis, so it is usually replaced, ang turnover niya is 39 days. So ibig sabihin kayo, kahit sabihin ninyo na lagi-lagi kayo naliligo araw-araw, ang epidermis ninyo talagang nagpapalit siya. So, yung sinasabi nyo, may libag ka, kaya gano'n, di ba? That term, no? So, talagang nangyayari yun. Okay? So, for the intestinal epithelium, it's 34 hours. For the adipocytes, 9.8. Oh, my forever sa cardiomyocytes because we don't live for 100 years, right? Nawala na naman. Itong issue, I remember, no? Itong issue na to, every time I present using the Google Meet, it's just turned off, right? And now it happened again. Dr. Madarcos, ewan ko ba't ho ganito yun. Okay? Okay, so yan. So, magic talaga, no? So, yan yun, ha? Remember this, I won't be asking you about the turnover. Promise, wala naman yan sa learning objective natin. Hindi importante yon. Okay? Yung turnover. It is suffice to know na alam niyo na may turnover ang mga cells natin, no? Ibig sabihin, nare-replace talaga sila. So, next is the list 4 or more common environmental constituents known to damage biologic macromolecules such as proteins and DNAs. So pag sinabi niyong wear and tear theories, laging hydrolysis yan, water. Kasi environment, di ba? Water. Pag mamaya, oxidative theory, we will be talking about the ROS. Okay? So wear and tear theories, it is about hydrolysis. So, in here, the hydrolysis, for example, the hydrolytic reactions that can damage proteins or DNA. So we will start first with the protein part. So ang protein, for example, the asparagine and glutamine, these are the amino acids, right? So since this is part of the amino acids, what happens if they are hydrolyzed? So as you can see here in this slide, when hydrolyze ang asparagine, it will now become aspartate and glutamine will become glutamate. So where do you think in this structure there on the left, the asparagine and glutamine will tell you that it is hydrolyzed? Which bond there? It is the, very good, no? It's the amide band, no? The amide band there. So that's the amide band for the asparagine and that's the amide band for glutamine. And if that is hydrolyzed, what happens now? It becomes an acidic molecule. So you have the acid aspartate and the acid glutamate. Those two. So the amide bands of asparagine and glutamine, when are exposed to hydrolysis, they will form the potentially negatively charged carboxylates, the aspartate and the glutamate. Next, how about the DNA? For example, cytosine. If you can still remember in the degradation of nucleotides, no, the base cytosine, when it is hydrolyzed, it becomes uracil. Whereas your adenine, it becomes hypoxanthine and guanine becomes xanthine. No? So this part here, when they are hydrolyzed, yan ang nangyayari sa kanila. Okay, so you form those products. And you call this, the amino group is replaced by the carbonyl to form the uracil hypoxanthine. Yan, nakalagay naman siya dyan. So next, ito, pinapakita ko lang sa inyo to refresh your memories, no, about the degradation of the different, what do you call that, new bases, no, bases, the cytosine down to your uracil, and the other one is this one. If you guys still remember in the video lecture that I showed you, the adenine becomes your hypoxanthine, whereas your guanine, it becomes your xanthine. Okay? And then, now, so those are the, how the wear and tear theory damage our macromolecules, the proteins and DNAs. Okay? So, yan yun. Now, here, bakit vulnerable tong mga nucleotide bases to damage? Okay. So, ano yung sinasabing damage, no? Pag nag-undergo sila ng hydrolysis, di ba ganun ang nangyayari? But then, take note, not only the amide bonds, no, that are affected by hydrolysis, also the bond that links your sugar, the glycosidic bond. So, I repeat, in the wear and tear theories, it is not only the amide bonds that is hydrolyzed, but the glycosidic bond can be hydrolyzed. If it in case the hydrolysis is there sa glycosidic bond, then what is formed? That is the glycosidic bond, di ba? The bond that links your sugar to base. If that is hydrolyzed, you form now a basic DNA. So, ibig sabihin, wala siyang DNA. So, anong mangyayari pag walang DNA? Ano itsura niya? Putol siya, di ba? Di ba ang DNA dapat dire-diretso yan. Dapat meron siyang tawag dito, base, di ba? The base yung ng the double bond, the AT and the GC. The AT and the GC, di ba? Naglilink sila ng hydrogen bonds. Paano kung isa doon walang base? Ang tawag sa kanya a basic site. Okay? You call it the basic site. of the DNA. So that a basic site now, no, yan, it leads to a gap in the sequence. So if there's a gap, this may produce genetic mutation if left unrepaired. Okay? So yan yun. So here, to summarize all the things that we talked about, wear and tear theory. So we have here the asparagine that can be aspartate, the glutamine to glutamate, and that hydrolysis is what? Affecting the amide bonds. Okay, the amide bonds. Next is the cytosine to uracil. Also, the amide bonds pa din yan, no? Ito, no? The amide bond here. So, naging uracil siya. We also include the, do not forget the adenine and guanine to hypoxanthine and xanthine respectively. And lastly, it is not only the amide bonds that are affected, but the glycosidic band as well. And if that happens, again, what will be the product? The product will be a basic DNA, which again, I repeat, can produce genetic mutation if left untreated or unrepaired. So there are also other relevant bonds susceptible to hydrolytic reactions. No, if we talk about the amide bonds of proteins and the amide bonds of DNA and the glycosidic bond of DNAs, we can also have this one, ester linkages that connects fatty acids to the glycerolipids. The glycosidic bonds of the monosaccharide units, pwede rin pala yun, ano? And phosphodiester bonds that hold polynucleotides together. But in that book, it was just mentioned, but it was not shown. The image, I mean, it was not shown. Okay? So, yun. So, now we go to the next theory, that oxidative theory. Before we continue, do you have any question? That's about the first theory of aging. Do you have any question? I guess there's none. Okay, so the next is the oxidative theory. So the oxidative theory, we will be discussing the two objectives, describe the oxidative and as well as list the primary sources of reactive oxygen species or ROS. Bakit nga pala tayo nagkakaroon ng ROS? I hope you can still remember the lecture, yung mga previous lectures ninyo. Saan tayo nagkaroon ng ROS? Or should I ask first, ano yung mga ROS na naaalala ninyo? Can you give me an example? Class? Can you give me an example of an ROS? Hello? Hindi ko tuloy alam kung naririnig niyo ako. Are you with me? You can use the raise hand icon or the chat box there. Wala kayo naalala? ROS?
Dok, yun po ba yung superoxide?
Yes, the superoxide. Saan nyo na-encounter yung superoxide? What lecture? WBC, very good. Di ba sa WBC, do you remember the NADPH oxidase system? And yung myeloperoxidase, it can produce what? It can produce ROS, di ba? Yun. Ano pa? So kayo, pag nai-stress pala kayo, no? O tayo, kasama rin ako, no? I'm also a human like you. So kung nai-stress tayo, o kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng infection, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga ROS. So, it can lead to aging. So, dapat laging healthy pala tayo. Or else, di ba? Bata-bata pa lang mukha na tayo matanda. Okay? Ano pa? Saan pa? Hydrogen peroxide. Where do you encounter the hydrogen peroxide? So, in that WBC topic, di ba? Lecture. What else? In what metabolic pathway do you encounter that hydrogen peroxide? Saan pa? kung napanood nyo talaga yung lecture ng nucleotide metabolism, in what part there do you encounter the ROS? Maghintay ako. Para
Sa degradation po ng purine.
ulit yung video. Ano, Rogie Bell?
Sa degradation po ng purine, Doc, sa xanthine oxidase po ba yun?
Okay, in the XOR, xanthine oxidase reductase, oxidoreductase actually XOR, no? So that is where you encounter what do you call? Oh, dyan na nga eh, kahit na nga hindi nyo panoorin yung video eh. If you're only looking at the materials I gave you about this topic, then you will know, di ba? Okay? So here, no, there are biologic processes requiring oxygen, thus regenerating ROS. So hindi lang yun yung mga nabanggit ninyo, no? Nabanggit ni Roger Bell kanina about the degradation of purine nucleotides to uric acid, and that is the XOR, the xanthine oxidoreductase. But also in the detoxification of synbiotics by cytochrome P450, and even hydroxylation of proline and lysine side chains in collagen, and also the oxidation of the proteolytic groups in the flavin-containing enzymes that catalyze oxidative decarboxylation generation of the chemiosmotic region in mitochondria by the ETC. So here, no, the redox enzymes frequently employ prosthetic groups, di ba? Naalala ninyo yung mga flavinucleotides, yung iron sulfur centers, and even the heme-bound metal ions in assisting the free radical and oxyanion intermediates formation during these processes. So ito yung sinabi kanina ni Roger Bell, no? In the degradation of purine nucleotides in the process, we thought it's just hypoxanthine to uric acid and that's it. No. In the process, you also generate the ROS, hydrogen peroxide. So aside from hydrogen peroxide, there are also other ROS, namely the superoxide, the hydroxyl radical, the nitric acid, the lipid peroxide, and the thiol radical. So if we're going to compare them, for example, the hydrogen peroxide, superoxide, and the hydroxyl radical, these three, the most toxic is the hydroxyl radical because it's the most reactive among these three. Okay? So how are these formed? Ay, meron lang naman ako hydrogen peroxide. Paano ako magkakaroon ng other na mas toxic na ROS? How are the more toxic ROS formed from a simple hydrogen peroxide? So we have these two types of reaction, and you call it the Fenton and the Haber-Weiss reaction. Haber-Weiss reaction. So here in the Fenton reaction, as you can see, as well as in the second reaction, hydroxyl radicals can also be formed. Okay. So the ROS can react with and chemically alter virtually any organic compound that includes your proteins, nucleic acids, and lipids. Now let's say for example the lipids muna tayo. Lipids. So that's the PUFA. Where do you encounter PUFA? Sa anong mga pagkain? Hindi pa ba kayo nag-breakfast? Saan mga pagkain may PUFA? Sa mga delata, di ba? Sa mga tuna, sa mackerel, even the butter, like that, okay? Oh, so yung mga yung pala, if ever, no, if they are, if an ROS reacts to it, no, it can form what? It can form adducts, no? So this adducts, so ano example ng adducts in this slide? The malondialdehyde and the 4-hydroxynonenal. These are the adducts. So peroxidation, if the pupa undergoes peroxidation, it will generate these reactive products. Okay? The malondialdehyde and the 4-hydroxynonenal. Naalala ninyo kapag kayo kunwari na-expose sa mainit na environment, yung ano, yung mantika, sino hilig magluto dito? Sino mahilig magluto? Pag kayo ba nagluto ng piniritong isda, inuulit niyo ba ang mantika? Do you repeat it? Pang second time, ay pangatlong init na ng mantika. Ginagawa niyo yun? Yes po. No, ngayon, ano napapansin niyo sa mantika? Nagiging brown siya, di ba? Tapos yung amoy niya iba na, nagiging rancid siya. Ito kasi ang nangyayari sa kanila. Kaya ho, actually, hindi ina-advise ang paulit-ulit na paggamit ng mantika kapag ho tayo ay nagluluto. So when you cook as much as possible, yaman naman ano, one time lang yung mantika na gagamitin ko. Parang yan, olive oil pa, ang mahal-mahal, di ba? So here, what I was telling you is that household butter that turns rancid when exposed to warm air is a testament to the reactivity of unsaturated fats. So those containing one or more carbon-to-carbon double bonds with ROS. So, yun ang advice ko sa inyo. So, meron tayong magandang natutunan ngayong araw. Tama? Tapos pagagalitan ako ng nanay ninyo, no? Ano yung tinuturo mo sa anak ko? Sabi niya, pag nagluto daw ako, isang beses na lang ako magagamit ng mantika. Bakit mayroon ka bang pambili sa amin ng mantika? Biglang gano'n, no? Hala, yari ka. So, hindi, as much as possible, this is the reason why you are here in school. You also learn, di ba? Na pwede pala mangyari yun, na magkaroon tayo ng ROS species. Kapag inulit-ulit natin ang pagluto ng mantika. Okay? So here, in this next slide, no, it tells you that peroxidation of lipids, can lead to the formation of the cross-link lipid-to-lipid or lipid-protein adducts. So yun nga yung malondialdehyde and the 4-hydroxynonenal, no, this compromise the membrane fluidity and rigidity. So ano ngayon kung ganyan ang mangyayari? Ang mangyayari niyan kapag ganyan, in the mitochondria, kapag natanggalan, if there's a loss of membrane integrity, this can reduce the efficiency to which the electron transport chain generates ATP. Di ba doon nangyayari yung ATP, no, formation sa mitochondria? So if that mitochondria lost its membrane integrity, there will be leakage of deleterious ROS. Okay? Deleterious ROS. And the accumulated damage to mitochondrial membranes may eventually lead to the efflux of cytochrome C, which is an inducer of apoptosis. So here, this is a good illustration showing what I have said. No? For example, these different ROS, they can induce the opening of the permeability transition pore complex embedded in the mitochondrial outer membrane, which allows this di ba ang cytochrome C nandun yun? Sa ETC natin yun doon. Nasira nga yung membrane ng mitochondria mo. So there will be leakage. There will be an escape of this cytochrome C into the cytoplasm. And if that happens, this cytochrome C will provide the core around which apoptosome coalesce. So, parang ano yan tara, may nakatakas sa bahay na yun. Pag initan natin siya, di ba? Ginawa siyang core. Ayan. So, they will form now a core, that apoptosome. And that apoptosome, no, ang pinaka-center nila yung cytochrome C. And that apoptosome, the assembly of apoptosome, initiates cascade of proteolytic activation events targeting the proenzyme from the caspases. Caspases are the family of cysteine proteases, di ba? So what do they do? No? So there will be activation of this pro-caspases into its active form. And that active form of caspases will lead to breakdown of structural proteins. So it will lead to breakdown of such structural proteins. Okay? And even chromatin proteins in the nucleus. Okay? So yan yun. And then, lastly, if that happens, dahil nagkanda sira-sira na lahat, they will lead to death and eventually phagocytosis of the morbid cells. Yan, yung sinasabi doon. Okay? So, yun pala ang pwede mangyari. Next. Hindi here in this slide, no? Another oxidative, that's about lipids, right? That's about lipids. Now we go to the DNA. So DNA. If the DNA base, like for example, the guanine, reacts with your ROS, it will produce the 8-oxoguanine, okay? Which can also form an ADAC, the M1DG, with the ROS product malondialdehyde. Di ba meron ka na-produce kanina malondialdehyde? If that malondialdehyde reacts with ganin, you will form an ADAC M1DG. M1DG. Okay? So, yan yun. So, these ADACs formed with nucleotide bases can be especially dangerous because of their potential to cause mutation, generating errors during DNA replication. Okay? So, here, ano pa? Common reactions of proteins o proteins naman. So, kanina naglipids tayo, then DNA. Ngayon, ito naman, proteins. If the protein reacts with ROS, you form this, the cis-sulfonic acid, the methionine sulfone, and down below, your nitrotyrosine. Okay, so yan yung mga products naman niya. So, here, what is being cleaved by the ROS is the ayan yun. Yan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Cysteine sulfonic acid, the methionine sulfone, and the nitrotyrosine, I mean. And what is being cleaved is the peptide bond here, in this area here. No? Yan yun. So, showing you that those reactions, no, what is also related to the oxidative theory of aging is the UV radiation. Kasi sabi na, di ba, huwag kang lalo na pag buntis ka, huwag kang mapapa-x-ray kasi may radiation, and even tawag dito, pag masyadong mainit na ang araw, nakatirik ang araw, you protect your skin, mag-lotion ka, mag-moisturizer ka, mag-sunscreen ka. Because UV radiation, no, can also lead not only to aging, but even skin cancers, right? So, where is UV radiation? The UV radiation is the wavelengths of light that lie immediately below the blue end of the visible spectrum. So, ang visible spectrum, ito yung nakikita natin. Pero itong UV light, pag ikaw ba tumingin ka, kwartang haring tapat, nakikita mo yung color violet na UV light? Wala naman di ba? Kasi hindi natin sila nakikita. Pero we know for a fact that there is UV radiation, no? Kapag sobrang init ng araw. So, you protect also your skin. Bakit nga ba dapat? Because, yan, no? While the human eye cannot detect them, they are strongly absorbed by the compounds possessing aromatic rings and multiple conjugated double bonds, the nucleotide bases of DNA and RNA, the side chains of phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan, PUFA, heme groups, and the cofactors and coenzyme, including flavin, cyanocobalamin. Okay? So here, the absorption of this short wavelength, the high energy light, can cause the following: rupture of covalent bonds in proteins, DNA, and RNA, formation of thymine dimers. Actually, yan lang yung madalas na lumalabas about thymine dimers pag sinabi mong UV light, di ba? But we don't know, no? Meron palang other causes like yung cross-linking of proteins and even generation of, again, of free radicals. Okay? Ganyan. Parang nagkaroon ako ng allergic reaction. Sorry Next. Ay. Continue. So these are the UV light wavelength from 200 to 400. Okay. So this is the formation of the thymine dimer. So ito yun. In that formation of thymine dimers, as you can see, you have the formation of the cyclobutene. So this whole structure here is your thymine dimers. Thymine lang po ang affected ha, hindi yung ibang mga bases, okay? Thymine only. Yan. So here, about the cross-linking of proteins and protein glycation, no, here in the process by which the adduct is forming amino groups in proteins and nucleotides are exposed to a reducing sugar such as glucose. So for example, this is your glucose. So if this reacts with that one, with the protein, you form a Schiff base. Then that Schiff base, there will be interaction of the nitrogen here and the carbonyl group here, no, forming now the Amadori product. So this is their Amadori product. And then this Amadori products will lead to reaction. Before the reaction, no, these Amadori products, no, will, as you can see, it will, when water is removed, no, it will form a double bond here, carbon to carbon double bonds. And when it happens, these Amadori products with a double bond carbon to carbon, it can react again with another, it can be a protein, it can be a DNA or whatsoever, no, to form this structure here. So, kumbaga, form siya ng form until such time, no, from a simple sugar lang, ano, nag-form siya na nag-form ng, tawag dito, glycated products. Glycated products. And you call this AGE, you know, AGE. Ayan. Advanced glycation, I forgot the letter E. End, ayun, E, end products. AGE products. Okay? The advanced glycation end products. So, saan to importante yung advanced glycation end products? Here. So, ano yung mga tinatawag natin mga AGE or advanced glycation end products or the result of protein glycation? Ito yung mga nakikita natin, mga plaque formation sa heart natin, ano, yan, sa vascular endothelial cells, no, the accumulation of cross-links in the collagen network can lead to the formation of your plaques, okay, increasing now the workload of the heart. In the eyes, sa eyes naman, paano sa eyes? Cataracts naman yan, no, cataracts. How about in diabetes? Yun nga, no, yung, di ba, kapag pinapa-examine natin ng mga diabetic patient, isn't it the glycation of hemoglobin is being now used as biomarkers in diagnosing diabetes? Di ba? Actually, hindi siya per se na diagnosis eh. Malalaman mo yung response ng patient dun sa treatment. So, if the patient is diabetic, hindi lang fasting blood sugar, it is not only the fasting blood sugar or the OGTT that are requested, but also the HbA1c. That HbA1c, yun yung sinasabi, glycation, no, hindi iba yung glycation of your hemoglobin. So, if the patient is unresponsive to your treatment, mataas ang HbA1c. It will remain. In fairness, mahaba-haba yung time na yun na ngayon lang ulit nag-stop. O, di ba? So, doon mo malalaman na ang pasyente is not responsive to your treatment for the past 3, kasi every 3 months or every 6 months pinapa-examine HbA1c sa pasyente. So, pag ganun, dapat sa doktor, nakita mo na HbA1c, ang taas-taas, then sasabihin mo, continue lang po your medication, that will be wrong, no? So yun. So, that's the application of this lecture then, no? Ayan. So now that we know the effects of this ROS, what will be the mechanisms to prevent or repair damage inflicted by this ROS? So, we have 3. First is the antioxidants. So, this is the reason why our parents keep on telling us, uminom ka ng vitamins, ganito ka, vitamin A, C, and E ka, di ba? Antioxidants. Tapos sa skin mo, mag-gluta ka, di ba? And the gluta, the antioxidant form of your gluta is the reduced form. Okay? The GSSH. Binanggit-banggit ko pa kasi, ayan, tuloy. Stop na naman. Okay. So, the reduced glutathione, okay? The reduced glutathione. So, in here, the glutathione, kaya pala, ang daming mga products ngayon na may gluta. The glutathione can react directly with the cysteine, sulfonic acids, and disulfides. Remember, yung natin, tawag dito, if those amino acids sa proteins reacts with your ROS, what are the ano yung mga na-form? Cysteine sulfinic acids, ano pa? Disulfides actually, ano pa? Methionine sulfone, and lastly, that's nitrotyrosine, di ba? So, ang glutathione can act directly with the disulfides of cysteine and sulfinic acids, no? So, yun pala yun. No, yun mo, nagre-prevent niya, nagre-react siya doon. And when this glutathione reacts with those things that I have mentioned, they will restore them to their reduced state. O, diba? Galing-galing. How about, ito nga, vitamin C and E. Pinainom tayo parati ng vitamin C, ganyan, at saka vitamin E. Ang mga lotions ngayon, di ba? Meron na silang vitamin E. So in here, it only tells us that these two vitamins, they possess antioxidant properties which slows aging. They slows aging process. How? By this process here. Okay? So yan yun. Next, the second mechanism by which the cell repair naman the damage inflicted by ROS is through proofreading. So in here is a busy slide, but I want you to know, Dr. Jeline Crisostomo later on will tell you about the mechanism by which our body repairs, no? If there are mutations in our DNA. So one system there is what we call the Q system, and it is used to repair the double strand breaks. She will also mention to you later kasi nauna ako lang mag-lecture ngayon sa inyo. Meron kasi tayong tinatawag na single strand break or the double strand breaks. No. So this one, the Q system is for the double strand breaks. Okay? So yun. Now, the last mechanism for repairing damaged proteins. Yan. Kuwari, hindi na natin siya na-prevent. Meron ng damaged proteins. So, i-repair natin siya. No? So, here, we use the different enzymes. Actually, we have 3. First is the disulfide reductase. Second is the methionine sulfoxide reductase. So, reductase. So, pag nakarinig kayo ng reductase, maganda pala yun, ano? Kasi nakakatulong sila. So in here, this enzymatic reactions requires NADPH and reduced glutathione. It wouldn't work kung wala tong dalawang to, the NADPH and the reduced glutathione. So they targets the sulfhydryl groups of cysteine and the sulfhydryl ether of methionine, sulfhydryl ether of methionine. Unfortunately, the reduction potentials of glutathione and pH are only sufficient to reduce the lowest oxidation states of the sulfur atoms. So, ibig sabihin, kaya lang niya yung binanggit ko sa inyo kanina, yung disulfides and methionine sulfoxide. If it is cysteine, sulfinic, or even sulfonic acid, they are what? And even methionine sulfone, look at the last statement. These 3 are refractory to reduction. Okay, these are refractory to reduction. So in this slide, it just tells you how the damage is being repaired, the cysteine repair. Look at this. Nakita niyo ba yung cursor ko, class? Class, can you see it?
Yes po.
Okay. So ito, makikita nyo, itong disulfide lang na to at saka methionine sulfoxide, ito lang ang talagang nare-repair if it is inflicted by your ROS. Look at the arrows here. Yan yon, okay? The rest cannot be repaired if it is inflicted by the ROS. Okay? So yan yon. Ha? Then, the next enzyme, the third enzyme that I mentioned, sabi ko sa inyo, 3 enzymes ang importante dito. The third enzyme is your isoaspartyl methyltransferase. So, this targets the isoaspartyl groups formed when a peptide bond shifts from alpha to side chain. So, this is your alpha carbon, di ba? This is not the alpha carbon. This is the alpha carbon, sorry. Ito ang alpha carbon. Yung cursor ko ngayon, nandiyan yung alpha carbon natin. So, this is your alpha carbon containing your peptide. Tapos, ayan, yung tawag dito. This is one peptide and another peptide. So, this is one amino acids here. So, here, No, ito yung sinasabi from alpha to the side chain of the to the side chain carboxyl group. May side chain carboxyl group. Anong ano to? Anong amino acid to? Yung binubilugan ko ngayon. This is aspartic acid. Okay, this is aspartic acid. Kaya nga tawag sa kanya, it forms a cyclic intermediate, no? At this is the cyclic intermediate because the nitrogen here will interact, nasa peptide ka na eh, di ba? That peptide interacts with the carboxyl group of your aspartic acid, you will form cyclic intermediate, and then after that, it will form now this isoaspartyl residue. Makakat siya. Pag nakat siya, ito ang nafo-form. Plus, the isoaspartyl residue. Now, what is the importance of your isoaspartyl methyltransferase? This isoaspartyl methyltransferase will transfer methyl group here sa isoaspartyl residue. And when it happens, when this isoaspartyl methyltransferase adds a methyl group there, no? Ang haba nitong explanation dito eh. Pero you can read this na nandiyan naman sa slide na binigay ko sa inyo. When it happens, babalik siya dito, class. Babalik siya sa cyclic intermediate. It will form a cyclic intermediate again. Then it will form now aspartyl residues. Ready to accept, ready to reopen, no? Magre-reopen siya ulit to form the normal peptide linkage. So, ganun ang gagawin niya. Paikot lang siya. Okay? So, from aspartyl residue to cyclic intermediate to aspartate residue, you add a methyl group there, and then, after adding a methyl group, it will form now again a cyclic intermediate, then as aspartyl residue. So, pag ganun siya, cycle siya. Okay? Yan yon. So that is about the oxidative theory. So in the oxidative theory, we have learned that it can be affected, that the proteins, lipids, and DNA can be affected. So I'm giving you the summary, no, on what to study. Pag lipids, remember peroxidation of lipids, yung formaldehyde and the 4-hydroxynonenal. And then the guanine to oxoguanine, DNA yon. And to your proteins, the cysteine and the nitrostyrosine, the methionine, no? So, yun ang mga importante yung aralin doon. And also, the last learning objective there is about the repair or preventive measures. So, you study those 3 enzymes. Okay, those 3 enzymes. Do you have any question regarding oxidative theory? Wala. Okay. So we now move to the last theory, that's the metabolic theory. So let's now describe the basic principles, tenets of what? Of the metabolic theories of aging. So in here, this is again a busy slide. Pwede nyo naman siya basahin na lang, ano? So its origins can be traced to the observation that larger members of the animal kingdom tend to live longer. Actually, there is what you call a table there sa Harper's. Makikita ninyo kung ilan yung lifespan ng mga larger animals than the smaller ones, no? Ayan. Reasoning that causal basis for this correlation derived from something that is connected with size, no? That's something connected with size rather than the size itself. Akala natin size lang. Kasi may pinakita siyang table doon. Pero hindi pala. There is something in it. Okay? That we will be later on discuss. So in general, the resting heart rate of small insects, may ganito pa, di ba? Resting heart rate of the hummingbirds, pero yung mga hummingbirds pala, 250 beats per minute, whereas the whales, so hindi porke malaki ka, mas mabilis tumibok ang puso mo. Ay, may ganon. O, di ba? Hindi natin alam, no? Mas maliit, katulad ng hummingbirds, mas mabilis palang tumibok ang kanyang puso. When you compare hummingbirds versus the whales, no? So, ganun pala siya. Now, let's explain the mechanism of the countdown clock. Countdown clock talaga. O, sige, mag-countdown tayo. 9:24 up to 10 o'clock. Ito, this is a nice, it is also shown there in that book in Harper's. I think you will study this later on with Dr. Jeline also. The genomic DNA of eukaryotes is linear. Sa mga bacteria kasi, circular ang DNA nila di ba? Sa atin, linear ang DNA natin. Okay? So we have the 1 end is running from 5' end to 3' end. Meron ba ditong option na mag-drawing? Wala Wala. Hindi ko sure. Ito. Okay. Yan, ito. So, one end is running from 5' end, the other one is running from 3' to 5'. Okay? Now, if you do replication, there is such a thing as replication fork. Replication fork. So, for example, the replication fork is here. Yan, dyan sa part na yan. This strand running from here, 5' end to 3' end, ano mangyayari sa kanya? Siyempre, yung mangyari sa kanya, continuous pa rin, di ba? Continuous. Kasi ang replication always repeat replication always runs from 5' to 3' end. So, kung makikita ninyo, itong part na to is continuous kasi 5' end to 3' end. Okay? Andito ang replication fork natin di ba? I'm talking about this strand muna ha. Look, ito muna yung nire-replicate natin, itong strand na to. So, if that is replicated, makita nyo, sa color blue, continuous siya. But here, on the other side, the lagging strand, it is discontinuous. Discontinuous yan. Dahil discontinuous siya, the part here, yung orange na to pala, yan, to, yan. Yan yung telomeres natin. Telomeres. Okay? So, as you can see, in the lagging strand, napuputol siya. It is being cut. Right? It is being cut. Okay? Napuputol siya sa lagging strand. Now, these telomeres, by the way, this is the cap that ends the eukaryotic, which is consisting of GT-rich hexanucleotide repeats. Okay? So, yan yon. So, here, next, how about this strand? The 3' to 5' na strand naman. Yan, di ba? Pag dito ang replication fork natin, yung dito ang replication fork natin, since this is 3' to 5', di ba laging sabi ko sa inyo, ang laging replication is 5' to 3', continuous siya. Di ba? Kaya nyo ito nakikita, continuous siya. But here, on the lagging strand here, on the side here, it is cut. It is cut again. Okay? It is cut. So, ibig sabihin, nakita nyo, umiikli na umiikli. Now, we use this one. Let us use this one naman. So, yan yung na-replicate, di ba? Yung blue. Ito yon, yung blue na yan. Okay? Yan yon. Okay? Yan yung blue. So, kung yan yung i-replicate natin, kasi di ba ganun ang DNA replication, exponential siya di ba? So, remember that it is what? The telomeres are always being cut. So, umiikli siya ng umiikli. Parang pag nagsusulat ka lang lapis, pag lagi ka nagkakamali, bura ka ng bura, liliit siya ng liliit yung eraser mo. Ganun siya. Okay? Ganun ang telomeres. Okay. Now, what is important is that, wait lang. Nasa na? What is important is that, wait, saan na siya? Ayaw niya mag-continue. Hello, next slide. Ayan na yan. Stop. Okay. Next slide. Ayan na yan. Wait lang ha. Yan ako lang. Next slide. Ayaw niya mag-ano ng next slide niya. Okay. So in short, since 'di ba nakakat siya, 'di ba? Ito yung mahabang explanation na sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, no, about the telomeres, no? That it is ayan. When replicating linear double-stranded via discontinuous 3' to 5' synthesis, the 5' end of each new strand, no, will generally commence more than 200 base pairs shorter of the extreme 5' end of the template strand. So, paikli talaga ng paikli, di ba? Paikli siya ng paikli. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? Once the supply of telomeres DNA is exhausted, that is roughly 100 cell divisions for humans, mitosis will cease, causing the somatic cell to enter the state of replicative senescence. Hence, our bodies age, they progressively lose their capacity to replace lost or damaged cells. So, here, meron akong magandang dito slide. Susunod pa pala, hindi itong slide na to. The next slide after this. So to give solution to that, we have telomerase, no? Telomerase. Unfortunately, this telomerase, these are ribonucleic protein that is expressed in stem cells lang at saka sa cancer cells. But we are not hoping that we have cancer cells, di ba? Unfortunately, wala nito sa somatic cells. Saka talagang cut lang ng cut tayo doon. Okay? Sa laboratory, ginagawa natin, the proposed telomere clock has been demonstrated by genetically engineered somatic cells to express telomerase. So, sa laboratory lang po yun, na yung somatic cell merong telomerase. But in our human body, wala tayo na telomerase for our somatic cells. Okay? So, what happened is that, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, di ba? Ito yung chromosomes. Wherein there, at the end, ito yung sa DNA, di ba? At the end, yan o, nakakatuwa para siyang lapis. Yan yung telomeres natin. No? Remember that as we age, telomeres shorten because our cells are keep on dividing, di ba? So, nilipis siya na ninipis. But the telomerase here will add this RNA template para hindi. Ito yung solution niya ng telomerase. Para hindi siya mag-age. Okay? So, that's the essence of telomerase. No, it prevents what? It prevents aging. There are articles, research now in kapag research articles, pag nakikita ninyo, they are studying now telomerase, no, para to prolong life. Okay? So, yun. But, pero kung interesado lang kayong magbasa. Okay? So I think that's my last slide. So again, I repeat, there are 3 theories. The wear and tear. When you study wear and tear, hydrolysis yan. Okay? When you talk about ROS, yung mga adducts, Amadori, glycated products, yun ang aralin ninyo, as well as the 3 mechanisms, the enzymes, no, na importante. Sa metabolic theory naman about the telomeres and telomerase. Okay? Do you have any questions? Class? Kailan kaya tayo magkita ulit face-to-face? Sana malapit na din. Thank you, Dr. Madarcos. You're still here pala with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Reporter.
Okay. Thank you. I think you wait for Dr. Jeline. I'll tell Jeline na lang, Dr. Jeline, that we're done na po. So,